Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling something you use every single day, but probably haven't thought about too deeply. We're talking about the internet, but more specifically.
It's an American accent.
Exactly.
Now, and before you go picturing the internet
I'm just gonna say, I can't help.
in like a Stars and Stripes outfit.
Yeah, like Uncle Sam browsing for tap memes or something.
Right, it's a funny image, but what we're really getting at here are the ways that American culture, American values, they've kind of seeped into the online world and shaped it in all these subtle ways.
Mhm.
And to really wrap our heads around this, we actually have to rewind a bit, go back before the internet as we know it even existed.
Okay, so before dial-up, before social media, what are we talking about here?
Think about the global impact of Hollywood, especially back in the Golden Age. Those classic black and white films, even ones set in places like, Casablanca, they were showcasing a very American style of storytelling, a very American way of seeing the world.
Yeah, and those movies were everywhere. So even if you'd never even set foot in America, you were still getting a taste of American culture just by watching those films.
Exactly. And it wasn't just movies either. American music, think jazz, rock and roll, all of that had this huge role in spreading American culture all over the globe. And in a way, they were setting the stage for the internet, even if nobody knew it yet.
So by the time the internet comes along, most of the world's already pretty familiar with American culture in one form or another.
Precisely. And then enter those tech giants, those massive American companies that dominate the digital landscape.
Facebook, Google, Amazon, the whole gang's here.
Exactly. Those companies, they basically become synonymous with the internet itself. You can't really separate them. And that just further cements the American influence on the online world.
I mean, it's true. Like, we've got social media platforms in other countries, but these American companies, they're the ones calling the shots, you know?
And it goes even deeper than just where their headquarters are or how many users they have.
So it's about more than just them being American companies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it. The people who actually build these platforms, the developers, the designers, their values, even subconsciously, those values get woven into the very code of the internet.
Whoa, I never thought about it like that. So you're saying the internet isn't just reflecting American culture, it's actually being built by it, shaped by it in a way?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And one of the biggest ways this plays out is through those mysterious things called algorithms.
Algorithms, yeah. Okay, now, for those of us who aren't, like, computer whizzes, what exactly are algorithms and how do they fit into all of this?
You can think of algorithms like digital gatekeepers, I guess. They're constantly looking at your online activity, what you click on, how long you watch a video, even what time of day you're online. And they use all that information to shape your online experience. It's like they're always trying to show you things they think you'll like.
So kind of like that friend who always has the best recommendations, but instead of movies or restaurants, it's for everything you do online.
That's a really good way to put it, actually. And just like a friend might, even subconsciously, steer you towards things they like, these algorithms, they're doing the same thing based on the values and priorities of, well, the people who created them.
So these algorithms are basically running the show behind the scenes, deciding what we see and don't see online.
In a way, yes. And it gets even more wild when you realize these algorithms, shaped by those American values we talked about, they can actually start to influence how we see the world, even our own beliefs. That's pretty deep stuff.
Okay, now you've got me really curious. Give me an example. How does this actually work?
Okay, let's say you're scrolling online and you see a picture of a model, like in an ad or something. Well, the algorithm, it picks up on that and starts feeding you more images of, say, similar-looking people, or even promoting certain body types or styles, trends that often originate from, you guessed it, American media.
So it's like those beauty filters everyone's using, kind of subtly pushing a certain look as the ideal.
Exactly. It shows how these algorithms, without us even realizing it, can shape our sense of beauty, what we think is attractive, and it goes beyond just appearances too,
You're right. It's about how we see the world. It makes me think about what happens when you're reading news online.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's like if I read one article about, say, a political issue, suddenly my whole feed is flooded with stories about that issue, all from a similar viewpoint. It's like they want to keep me hooked, but it also feels a bit like I'm stuck in an echo chamber.
You're describing what we call a filter bubble, and it's super common. The algorithm, trying to keep you engaged, ends up showing you mostly information that reinforces what you already think, which can be comfortable.
Right, because you're like, yeah, I agree. This is what I've been saying all along.
Exactly. But the downside is you miss out on other perspectives, different opinions or new information that might challenge your views. It's like those noise-canceling headphones, but for your brain.
Love that analogy. You're blocking out all the noise, but you're also missing out on a lot of the richness and complexity of, well, in this case, the information landscape.
And that's the thing about filter bubbles. They can make it harder to really understand complex issues and even have meaningful conversations with people who hold different views, which is crucial.
It's like we're all living in our own little online worlds tuned to a specific frequency. And often that frequency, it originates from those American values we were talking about earlier.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember, this isn't about erasing the American accent of the internet completely. It's about recognizing its influence and actively trying to broaden our online horizons, to make it more diverse and representative of all the voices out there.
So how do we do that? How do we break free from these filter bubbles? Because it feels a bit like we're going up against these all-powerful algorithms, right?
It's a valid concern. But remember, those algorithms, they're always learning from us, from our behavior. Every click you make, every video you watch, it's all data that feeds into these algorithms.
So it's like with every click, I'm kind of training the algorithm, telling it what I like, what I want to see more of.
Exactly. You're basically writing the instruction manual, albeit unknowingly. But now that you know this, you can be more intentional about the instructions you're giving.
Okay, so what's the game plan then? How do we rewrite that manual?
It's all about being more intentional about what I like to call your online diet.
Ooh, diversifying our online diet. I like the sound of that. Less junk food, more brain food.
I like how you think. For example, instead of clicking on that 5 best avocado toast recipes article for the 10th time, why not explore a news site from a different country? See what stories they're highlighting.
Okay, so branch out a bit, get some global perspectives instead of sticking to my usual news sources.
Exactly. Or on social media, try following creators with different backgrounds or experiences than your own. Step outside your usual bubble, even if it's just online.
So like diversify my feed, make it a more interesting and representative place.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to venture into those suggested for you sections you usually scroll past. You might discover a new favorite creator or a topic you never even knew existed.
It's like taking a chance on a new dish at a restaurant. You might be surprised and find your next favorite meal.
That's the spirit. Be adventurous with your clicks. You have more power than you think.
I appreciate that, but I'm not gonna lie, it's still hard not to feel like my little clicks don't really make that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things.
Here's the thing. Every click counts. More than you realize. Every time you choose to engage with diverse content, you're sending a signal to those algorithms. And collectively, those signals, they have the power to reshape the online world, to make it a more vibrant and inclusive place for everyone.
It's like we're all casting these tiny votes with every click, shaping the future of the internet without even realizing it.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. And it's not just about what we do online either. Remember those echo chambers we talked about? Well, stepping outside of those in our offline lives, that's just as important, if not more so.
You mean like actually having conversations with people who see the world differently than we do, and not just online, but like face-to-face, real human interaction?
Exactly. And yeah, no, it can be tough, especially when we're talking about things we really care about. Yeah. Things that people have strong opinions on. But honestly, those conversations, even when they're difficult, that's where real understanding comes from. That's how we bridge those divides and build connections with people who might not think exactly like us.
It's so easy to forget that when you're online. It's like everyone's just shouting their opinions into the void.
Totally. But real change, real progress, it comes from genuine dialogue, both online and off. It's about listening to each other, trying to see things from different perspectives.
So it's not about erasing the internet's American accent. It's about adding to it, right?
Yeah.
Making it more diverse, more representative of all the amazing cultures and viewpoints out there.
Exactly. It's about embracing the richness and the complexity of human experience and reflecting that in our digital spaces.
Wow, when we started this whole thing, I just pictured the internet wearing a baseball cap. And now look at us. This has been eye-opening.
That's the beauty of a good deep dive, right?
Huh?
You never know where you're going to end up.
You got that right. To all our listeners out there, we hope this conversation has inspired you to think a bit more about your own online habits. Let's all do our part to create an internet that's as diverse and as vibrant as the real world.
Here's one last thought before we go. If the internet is shaped by our collective choices, what kind of digital world are we creating? What will the internet's accents sound like tomorrow? It's something to think about.
That's a question worth asking. This has been an incredible deep dive, and we couldn't do it without you, our fantastic listeners. Keep those minds curious, and we'll catch you on our next adventure.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.